back, folks. Another episode of the Big Friday podcast, where your program is like a stop sign. It's just a suggestion. If you want to roll right through and max out, your coach will forgive you. We already talked to him or her. Evan, how are you today?
I'm great. And to add to that, Brittany, I know that you have a something about a lunge punishment when it comes to people coming off program, right?
So technically it's only ever happened one time. I have an athlete, his name's Dan, he lives in Oklahoma, and he wanted to go heavy, and I was like, yeah man, just send me videos as you're doing it, right? So we're like, okay, cool. So I got 110, we're just cruising through, it's getting a little dicey. I'm like, all right, and then all of a sudden radio silence for like 6 minutes. I'm like, something's going on the other end. So I waited, and I kind of got distracted. So then it had been 20 minutes, and I was like, hold the fuck on. So I was like, I texted him, and I said, Dan, what are you doing? And he goes, well, I may or may not have tried 118 5 times. And I was like, okay. So you don't get to clean and jerk today. You're just going to do your accessories. And he was like, I don't have any accessories. I'm like, no, you do. You're going to load 50 kilos on a barbell, and you're going to do 100 lunges. And he just put, yes, ma'am. And that's it. That's the only person I've ever had to do it. But yeah, he likes to threaten people over social media. He'll be like, hey, just so you know, if you go off programming, it's 100 lunges. I'm like, all right, Dan. Okay. So yeah.
Dan. So program's a recommendation for everybody outside of Dan.
And yeah, outside of Dan. It's so hard sometimes, especially when people are in front of you, because they'll like hit something and it looks really good and you're just like, oh, okay. But it's when those remote athletes, like, just decide to kind of go rogue all the time. I don't know how many athletes I've had to like lay into before. I had this one guy out in Hawaii, and he like never goes off programming, but we had another athlete kind of prepping for a meet at the same time. They were buddies. So like I would notice Grant would go a little heavier sometimes. I'd be like, all right, it's okay. And then it was like week 3, and I was like, hey, you need to fucking stop. And he was like, I'm so sorry. It won't happen again. I really hope I didn't ruin your day. And then at that moment, I'm like, I can't even be mad at you. You think you ruined my day.
You have very polite clients. When I do this to my coach, I remind him that I'm a peacock and you got to let me fly, coach.
Yeah.
It sounds like yours are a little nice.
I'm kind of mean, so maybe that's why. I'm kind of mean.
So in Dan's defense, I didn't know you were going to talk about Dan, but I did already speak with Dan. I just messaged him now. Dan told me that those 5 attempts were him getting ready for max out blackout at Bexar Barbell on April 8th. He was saying, listen, I get as many attempts as I want, up to 10. I can take 5 snatches at 118 if I want to.
You could take 6?
No,
he would take 6.
He would take 10.
10, all 10 snatches? Yeah. You're not going to post a total, Dan. I don't care. I got it. I'm feeling it.
This is fine.
He's wearing tear shoes. He gets
he gets an 11th one.
Allegedly.
He's like,
allegedly.
Right? Exactly.
All right, guys, let's get into the meat of the podcast for the day. Today we have Brittany. Before you hopped on, I told Evan I'm not going to go through with this bit, but my proposed bit was I was going to mispronounce Bexar Barbell as many times as I could in different ways until you told me to stop.
Actually, you know what's funny is I wouldn't have. I stopped correcting people a long time ago, and I just don't care. Like, at this point, I had so many people that will, like, come up to me randomly and be like, hey. And I'm like, who are you? What's up? And they're like, just so you know, the announcer was pronouncing it Bexar. And I corrected them. And I'm like, yo, thank you. Yeah, I don't care. That's whatever.
The white knights are out for you.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine. It's something I accepted purely by when I named it originally. I was like, if you know, you know, and if you don't, that's fine too.
So you were of that mindset from day one. It wasn't like 2 years into it.
No, so when I started Bear, it was one of those things to where I worked with someone who was really big into marketing and artwork and all kinds of stuff. And I was talking to him about it because he does it for a living. And I was like, all right, like I want it geographical and I want weightlifting or barbell on the name. And I just want it to be like catchy. I don't want to name it after myself. And he thought of it. And I was like, Mark, that's so dumb. No one can pronounce it. And he was like, you mean it's genius because no one can pronounce it. And I was like, And now that I'm in school finishing my bachelor's, and now that I've taken like marketing classes and stuff, I'm like, okay, all right, maybe it was a pretty smooth move.
Yeah, I think marketing wise, it's actually smart, but I am your number one supporter if you ever want to change the name to Brittany Barbell Club. I'm already a fan and I'm already thinking about signing up.
You're like, I'm not, if you do it, I'm in. Like, just take your name and I'm in.
I love it. Just, I don't want to put my name on it. Okay, we weren't going to name it Brittany Barbell Club.
Yeah, I know. But, and it's nothing against people who do name stuff after themselves, but my whole goal is always for it to be, like, bigger than myself. Me be able to step away.
If you put your name in it, you beat your meat while making eye contact in the mirror. Like, that's the kind of person that you are. If you name it like Ryan's Barbell Club, terrible, awful, I hate it, you suck.
Yeah, it's just not my thing. And so I'm like, that's the last thing I want to do.
Good. I personally, I think the marketing idea of like making it intentionally easy, it starts a conversation.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good one right there. But other than the name, which seems to be a large part of the inception story around Bear Barbell, what else was the driving force for you? Just give the people a little bit of an intro before we dive deeper later on.
So to make a long story short, because there's so many podcasts in which I've like, it's cool because I think so many things we do on a daily basis, it's all subconscious, right? There's so much data that shows that most of the decisions we make, we don't think about. I'm a very impulsive person, but it's weird because even following my gut, everything's always kind of worked out. So I don't think anything was ever actually deliberate. It was more like something that I just knew needed to happen. And then the more I've talked about it on these podcasts, the more I've almost been able to make it like more like small, I guess, if that makes sense. So really it all just started. I owned another gym. I had a business partner. We didn't really get along. We're very different. And when COVID happened, I was towards the side of like, let's loan out equipment, let's take care of people. And my business partner wasn't. And so Bear started purely as a safe space for people in what potentially was and became probably the worst years of their life. You know, everything up in the air. So even remote lifters that I'd already coached and in-house people in San Antonio, I mean, the house I live in right now, I only live in this house because when I started Bear, I needed the biggest fucking garage I could find in San Antonio. My garage actually is like almost the same square footage as my house.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, my house is like 1,300 square feet and the garage is like 1,250. And it's detached. It's stupid. And so I was like, you know what? I can't get a commercial space. I also don't have the money because in the split, it became really ugly legally because my business partner didn't want me to leave. So I just walked away. So I actually started Bear with nothing. I joke around that like I went through a divorce and lost the house and all the vehicles and I got all the kids. The kids just pay money, so it works. So, you know, but yeah, so it started as giving people a safe space. I'm huge on culture. I don't tolerate like bullshit. I don't tolerate assholes. And it's still the same. Like when people walk in and they join, I'm like, if you come in here and you're having a terrible day, if it doesn't get better when you walk out the door, then I did something wrong in instilling this culture. So Bear really, it was a necessary thing that needed to happen when COVID started. People needed a safe space, and that's kind of what it is. And it still is that same thing for so many people. It's just morphed into something so much bigger with different avenues along the way.
How many podcasts have you been on where you've told what is the inception of Bear Barbell? How many times have you done that?
Maybe 5.
Okay, so you're pretty sick of it.
Oh no, I mean I don't.
You don't have to lie to me.
Nah, I'm not.
Okay.
I've been asked a lot, like what the whole burn the ships thing is, which is like a huge part of who we are. And then I've talked about it a lot. I think when I first started talking about it, I always felt like I was kind of like dancing around the situation because I never want to like speak poorly. It's just not how I am. I'm never going to talk bad about somebody. So I always kind of had to like skirt around the fact that I got like royally fucked over when this all happened. And now I still don't really talk about it, but I'm okay saying that. Like, yeah, I totally got screwed, but I made the best of a really bad situation. And that was really only possible because I had an amazing group of people that were like, whatever you're doing, we're doing it too. And I still have that. It's just bigger.
I think that's just a good mentality overall. It's a shitty situation to be in, but it's a really, really good test of you and your character when something like that happens. And you're kind of just left with that one choice of like, I have to make it. I have to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I know why I'm doing it, and I know that I need to get it done. I think maybe it's a spirit of weightlifting thing as well. It's almost like a 6th attempt, last clean and jerk, the white light moment of like, this has to happen. I don't know if it's specific. I don't think it's specific to the sport of weightlifting, but I think it's a mentality that a lot of people should try and cultivate in themselves, where a lot of bad shit happens, but there's only one real thing that you are going to do, and it's it. And you've got to get it done somehow.
Yeah, and the whole thing is, like, if you know the story behind the burn the ships, it's essentially just, if you take failure out of the equation, the only possibility is to be successful. I mean, today, for example, I had an athlete who was like, hey, can I take another attempt? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, cool, I'm going to go to this and see how it goes. And I was like, no, like, that's not how the attitude. Like, if you're going to load it, you put the fucker over your head, and that's it. Like, if you're going to do it, do it. If you're going to try it, don't even, like, I don't want to watch you try something. I want to watch you do something. And it's so important, because weightlifting is such a crazy sport. Like, we pick up an object that often weighs more than us and put it over our head. Like, it's wild. And so if you don't walk up, I actually told someone today, I'm like, yo, like, a little God complex is okay. Like, you need to walk up to that and be like, I'm a God motherfucker. Like, you just have to. Otherwise, you're never going to honestly be good at really anything.
Yeah, I think I think when people look at what I think is the golden age of like weightlifting YouTube, I think this is the reason why so many people gravitated towards personalities like John North, like the
Shankles.
Yeah, the Shankles of the world, because they were just like, just fucking load the bar, put it on the bar, don't care what is on it, I'm gonna lift that motherfucker. And in the age of like hyper fixation on every detail of the program, of the lift, this, that, and the other, you've got so many people that are just scared to lift the motherfucker. Just pick it up. Just give it a tug.
Give it a tug, let the back bend, hit and catch. That's all you need to do.
Just one time. And that's what I'm like, dude, so before my early 20s, I actually rode motocross professionally for like 2 years. Got super hurt, but
loved it.
Motocross is so much scarier than weightlifting, and it requires also a very high level of commitment. But if you half-ass it, you'll die. So I'm like, yo, what's the worst that's gonna happen if you give 100% effort? You miss. At least you know you gave 100% effort.
It's like, how many times have you missed before, and you're scared of it? You've survived every other time. What's gonna happen here?
Yeah, why is this one gonna be any differently?
The shame of your PR attempt is going to kill you? Oh, no. Booty freaking who. You'll be okay.
Don't even need to call it a PR attempt. You just call it a really good high pull.
Right? Well, at the last moment, I decided I was going to try and get under it, and I almost did.
I have an athlete, Lane Palm. He's now he's 96. And the first time he ever clean and jerked 175, he was only doing cleans. He was training by himself. And he sends me a video of him clean and jerking 175. And the whole time I had been getting only cleans the whole way, right? He's just like sending me a video. And then the crazy thing is I didn't even watch the jerk, because I'm just like doing something and I watched 175. I'm like, sick, you PR'd your clean. He was like, did you see the jerk? And I was like, what? And then I watched it and he was like, well, I figured since I already PR'd my clean, I should just go for the jerk. And I was like,
wow, run it.
What? Okay.
I like this guy. I like this fella. Exactly. That's exactly how I clean and jerked 300 for the first time. I was like 8 months into lifting. I was like, mother of God, I actually cleaned it. There's only one way to go from here.
Right.
I don't need a warm up. Your boy stays warm.
Yeah, just put it over your head.
Put it up there.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I done it. All right. So I won't ask you any of the usual. No, I'm not going to do it.
I'm curious, on these other 5 or 6 podcasts that you've gone through the same story, what's the one nugget of information that you haven't given them? What's the one fun fact?
Oh, man. I don't know. Actually, you know what? There's a piece that I never really talked about. So when I started Bear, I literally had nothing, and everything was like frozen during all the legal stuff. So I had no way to even like buy equipment or do anything. And I actually donated plasma for 3 months, twice a week, to buy equipment. So I don't think I ever actually said that. Yeah, I literally still have like scarring because I went and gave my body twice a week in order to buy the 3 barbells and 2 pen light plates that we started with.
The literal definition of blood, sweat, and tears then.
Yeah, I sat in like a weird, sketchy plasma place twice a week with people that I was like, this is weird, but whatever. I don't know how else to make money.
I'm sure the clones that they created are very happy out there. They're perfectly normal functioning members of society.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, I think that's kind of it. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like, it feels so long ago, but it's not. And when you think about it conceptually, where we started and where we are, it doesn't make any logical sense, but it is what it is.
Aside from attitude, culture, and donating plasma to start the barbell club, what does differentiate Bear from other clubs? Like, I'm sure you see a lot of other clubs at big clubs at national meets and the way that they conduct themselves. What do you guys do that's different? What sets you apart?
I think what a lot of coaches that I feel like don't really realize is leadership is really important. And the way that you act and the way that you carry yourself and everything you do on a 24/7 basis is very important for not only your athletes, but like the business that you run. So for myself, being an athlete is really important. And I've had a lot of athletes tell me that they feel like they can relate to me better because like I will train with them in off hours. Sometimes I'll do the same cycles they're running. So I think realizing that everyone's watching you and the things that you say and the way that you act is very much going to dictate even the way your athletes carry themselves. I have a group of amazing humans. They're respectful of each other. When we go to meets, I don't know how many times I get compliments from TOs who are just like, your people are so nice and they're so respectful. And I think some of that comes from respect towards me because they know that I would degrade them if they ever gave us a bad name. But it's just because, like, this is my whole life. And I mean, it's like it's a weird, unhealthy thing, I guess, because I don't have balance. But I love this. Like, I had a pretty rough childhood and I definitely, like, through a lot of therapy, didn't really feel emotions for a long time. And the only thing that really makes me feel something is coaching. Like, man, when Lane Clean and Jerk 182, I started crying. And that's like, not me, kind of a hard ass, everyone thinks, but I was like crying. And so I think a big difference is just like how much myself as a leader just cares. Like, I would do anything for any of my athletes to help them succeed and to get them where they want to be, to the point to where I'll put them before me every single day. And I'm not saying that's what anyone else should do. It's not healthy. It's definitely not a way to live your life. But that's just me. And so I think that's probably a huge difference, is just that, like, so many other coaches have other jobs. Like, I don't have kids. My wife is our other head coach. This is it. Like, this is me. And so for me, if I have athletes who are willing to put everything on the line to reach their goals, the best thing I can do for them is give what they're giving plus more. And so I think there's a lot of extrinsic motivation. I remember the first time Lane snatched 150, it was a 6 kilo PR. And I remember it was a local meet. He opened at 42. We went to 46, which was already a PR. And then I was like, I don't even know what to load on your third attempt because you've already PR'd by 2 kilos. And I asked him, I was like, Lane, what do you want to do? And he didn't even know kilos at the time yet. And he was like, I'll do whatever you put on the bar. I was like, okay. So I loaded 50 and he hit it. And I was literally like, what is going on? And I walked over to him and I said, Lane, what went through your head? And he was like, well, I told myself, if you put it on the bar, then you thought I could do it. And if you thought I could do it, then I could do it. And I was like, that's pretty insane and really dangerous. Like, really dangerous. So I think it's just that. I think it's my athletes know that they have someone in their corner as not only as an athlete, but as a person. I don't know how often I have athletes that need to vent about work or even at team training. Like, when I go up to people, I'm just like, hey, how was your day? How are things with this? And I remember what they do for a living, if they have any pets, if they have a significant other. Like, I remember all the little stuff that just shows people that you care. And so I think the biggest thing is just like really having someone in your corner who genuinely gives a fuck. I think that's huge. Also, just everyone is so supportive of each other. Like, it's crazy. I've never had any weird animosity towards people that are in the same weight class. I had Brianna and Anna compete internationally at Pan Ams and Worlds, and they're in the same weight class, and they're like best friends.
And that just happened again at the Texas State Championship, didn't it?
Yeah.
With a handful of athletes?
Yes. Yeah, I literally, in the last junior session, I had Mallory, Bree, and Anna going on one platform, and Mario going on the other platform, and all 4 of them were fighting over the U20 money. And I was like, look, whoever makes the most lifts wins. It's that easy. Like, I'm not picking favorites. I'll load whatever you need to win, and it's up to you.
So I think something that we've talked about this a lot at Gifted is like coaching in and of itself is so much more and so far removed from program delivery. I've talked to a ton of very good coaches, and then I've talked to a bunch of mid-level coaches, and a lot of the mid-level coaches, what separates you as a coach? Well, I really understand the ins and outs of the periodization and phasic potentiation, this, that, and the other. And it's like, that is great. I'm glad you know all that stuff, but you're going to get run over by someone like Brittany, who understands that it's so much more about people and dealing with people and the intricacies of their day-to-day life and letting them vent and like establishing that rapport to where they believe in whatever you load on the bar, they're going to lift it for themselves and they're going to lift it for you. Like, that is so much more of what makes a good club, good organization, good coach than any program design, because ChatGPT is coming for our ass cheeks. And he or she or they or whatever ChatGPT actually is can write a hell of a program.
It's a very solid lift companion.
Yeah, I mean, programming is obviously really important. It's really more, in my opinion, the thought process that goes behind programming, not as much as understanding the X's and O's. Obviously, it's really important to understand, like, I mean, energy systems doesn't really matter in weightlifting, definitely in CrossFit, but understanding why you're programming things. But I always tell all my athletes, I'm like, you should be able to come up to me and be like, hey, why am I doing this on this day? It's very important, but like, the best program in the world won't work if you don't feel like you have someone in your corner. It doesn't matter. You literally, the best program. Like, sometimes, man, shit's fucking heavy. And if you don't have a reason other than yourself in that moment to pick it up and do it multiple times as it's written, it's never going to work.
Yeah, agreed. And I think a step further than that is having an environment and a club and a gym where when you are having days like that, you've got other people to be like, that shit was heavy, and Brittany told me to do it 6 more times.
Yeah.
Like, and you have someone there to be like, I mean, you did it once, what, right, 6 more times at this point? Like, having that environment, culture, gym around you is huge, and it can't be replicated for individuals who train on their own, or maybe they're slogging by training out of a Crunch Fitness. You can't replicate that environment.
Yeah, and over half of our team is remote, and so sometimes I always ask myself, like, how is it? Because it's hard being a remote athlete, and I think, like, everyone being pretty close really helps. Social media is huge. You know, people hyping each other up, tagging each other. What's also cool is the bigger we've gotten, the more when people travel or do things, they can go drop in with people. One of my athletes, Corey, is flying to Japan right now, and he had a layover for a day in Hawaii, and he dropped in with one of his buddies, Grant, who trains there. Also, the bigger we grow, the more people have training partners. Like, I have multiple athletes that train together in Alaska, Oklahoma, with people at North Carolina. Like, it's cool because they just, like, have their own they're remote, but they train with teammates.
Yeah, the problem with that for me is that my coaching is a lot of control C and then a control V. So when they start training together, that's when I get in trouble. So I got to keep them separate. Evan, don't look at anybody else's program.
Right. Don't tell people what you're doing.
Evan, you're getting the secrets. Tyler, he's getting something.
There's a reason that I have to pay for my own True Coach subscription. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Evan, did you have any other questions about Bexar Barbell as a whole? I think we got some housekeeping to get into. It's the actual important stuff for the day. Don't get me wrong, I love Bexar Barbell and I love Brittany, but I had some really important questions that I got to ask. So wrap up.
I feel like we could circle back to it, sprinkle some more in there as we go, but let's get over the housekeeping stuff.
Okay, housekeeping for the day. As I was writing this script, someone brought up to me that they know someone, a man by the name of Jamie. And I don't think that there's a worse male name than Jamie. Like, you're getting introduced by your friends. You're like, hey, this is, like Corey, and this is, David, and this is my friend Jamie. And I don't like it. Male names that are worse than Jamie. You have input there?
What about Stacy?
Oh, I was going to say that's not a male name, but I think I actually know.
No,
I think I know a man named Stacy.
Yeah, I would say Stacy's pretty rough.
I feel like Stacy might be worse than Jamie because Jamie could be short for like Jameson.
Yeah.
And Jameson's an okay name.
Yeah.
Stacy.
And if your name is Stacy, people are just going to keep asking about your mom.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I've heard that she's got it going on. I don't know if anyone can
Sometimes.
verify that.
It's only sometimes.
Sometimes.
Evan, can you beat Stacy?
I think Richard comes down to the nickname. Right?
Yeah.
Richard, you got Dick. Like, First off, that's a whole different one.
Yeah.
And then you've got,
That doesn't make sense.
as far as where that goes, that's probably the first one that comes to mind for me.
Yeah, around past, like, even if you don't go by Dick, you're like, oh, my name's Richard. They're like, oh, okay.
Someone's got to call you Dick.
No, man, that's not my name.
If you play it right though, like someone's like, "Oh, hello, Richard," and you're like, "Call me Dick." That's almost like a power. It's almost like a power move in that.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, whoa. It's not like, do people call you Dick and they're coming at you with the aggression? It's like, no, you're gonna call me by my government, and it's Dick. Check the photo ID, dog. Florida ID, one name. It's like Cher or Seal, just Dick.
That's it. And that's the only thing. It's your picture, and then it just says Dick.
Yeah.
No middle name, no last name. It's just Dick.
No accents.
Evan, your argument was Swiss cheese. We just holes all in it.
I didn't say Dick was the bad name. I said Richard was the bad name.
Okay. Well, there's holes in your dick. There's a lot. I'm noticing a lot of dick holes right here. So we can toss that one out. Our winner, and it's not just because the guest. Our winner is all the guys that watch the podcast. There's 9 of them named Stacy. Unfortunate.
We're gonna block him.
You'll
block him on social media.
All right. My second piece of housekeeping. Because everyone here has done many insane things in the gym. We've all made, some big Friday decisions. 'Tis the spirit of the podcast as a whole. What is the biggest pit in your stomach feeling in training? I had 2. I had 2 of them. Do you guys want me to start? Or do
you go first.
Jump in? All right.
You go first.
My first one is when you're racking a jerk behind your neck and you feel it start to slide down your back.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
That's not a good one. What do you guys got?
I think for me, I can remember I was thinking back about this, and I think that probably the most pit in my stomach feeling was one time I was wearing one of those old Harbinger Velcro belts before Tupood was big, and doing a heavy back squat, and just halfway up, I just felt the Velcro start to and come undone. And I was like, oh God, here we go. Let's see what happens here. It was not a pretty sight to see.
That's a lift crisis and a body image crisis. Cause you're like,
is
this a belt?
exactly.
Is it me? What have I been eating recently? Have I been tracking my macros as close as I should?
That's exactly what happened. I went home and I just cried for the rest of the day. I called the workout after that lift, and I was like, it's no more. We'll come back to this another day.
How'd the lift go?
Lift did not go well.
Did not.
It did not. It did not at all.
Wearing a belt.
It actually was. It was one of the biggest reasons. I was like, this is a crutch. This is too much of a crutch for me. I should have been able to do that.
Harbinger's a sponsor of the show, so be careful. We think your belts are great. Tupood, throw them in the trash. More like poo-pooed. Harbinger, we love you. We love you. Until Tupood wants to sponsor us and give us more money, then we're big fans.
That's why it's Tupood. It's not. They can't just put poo-pooed. Tupood is more acceptable.
What mean?
Tupood.
Is it like the weight?
It is.
Yeah. But why?
It's a Russian unit of weight. So Tupood is 70 pounds or something.
Why 2? Why not 37 pood?
That's more pood.
That's a lot of poo.
Yeah. Or just
Who's pooing that much?
Yeah, pit in your stomach feeling might be something like Evan pooed coming up on that squat.
That could be it.
Look for our new belt release, Gifted Barbell Evan pooed belts. They'll be coming your way here.
I'm gonna reach out to Two Pood and see if they're open to elaborating on whether or not it's just short for poo pooed or.
You'll probably just get an email that just back just says yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brittany,
Signed.
pit in your stomach feeling. It can be real like Evan's or just a general thing.
I used to be really bad at re-racks, like terrible. Like I would just like slam a heavy weight right down onto my chest. But it wasn't the feeling, it was hearing everyone in the background go, and I wanted to be like, I'm fine. It's fine.
I like the sound of like the ooh in the background. It's like I am
But it's not
okay.
a good one. Yeah. It's not a
It's like you guys doubt me because you're a bunch of soft bodies. Not
Yeah.
me. I'm a hard body.
Yeah, I make
My
it on
body can
purpose.
handle that.
Yeah, I like it. I like
Don't mess with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like these growths that I have on my neck, those don't run. That's the sign of someone who doesn't know how to re-rack and 2, doesn't care.
Yeah. It is,
Someone who doesn't need to learn.
yeah, someone who doesn't care enough to learn how to re-rack it.
You learned technique in weightlifting because you're weak. I've never had to use technique because I've always been so goddamn strong.
Yeah, it's never been a barrier for me, guys.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
I do believe it was Marcus Bell who said strength is never a weakness. And there's no
What a
CPAP,
wonderful
and there's no
philosopher.
CPAPs in the jungle.
Yeah.
Two
No.
of his famous quotes. My
That's why he's starting the war on carbs, I hear.
My second pit in the stomach is like coming down for like a hang, specifically like a low hang complex, and you feel your hook grip just like melt as you go from like to reverse the momentum back to actually performing the movement from the hang, and it just like comes on.
Yeah.
I'm like,
You're like, I might throw this at the person in front of me or I might make it. Regardless, you don't know what I'm feeling.
yeah.
No one else knows. No one knows you're panicking.
That mid-pull bar drop shoot back of yourself, that was completely planned. It's part of the complex.
Yes, exactly.
That's my new mantra when I take the platform from now on. No one knows I'm panicking. First attempt, third attempt, no one knows. On the inside, it's just panic.
Yeah, that's one thing I can say. Like when I'm coaching, I always am so. And I think I was a paramedic for 7 years before I just became a full-time coach. So I'm like used to having to be calm, but I'm a very anxiety-ridden coach, but you would never know. There's so many times at meets, I'll like hand my phone to someone and be like, hey, can you record this? And they're like, yeah. And then they turn around and I'm like, because I'm like shaking with my own adrenaline because I have such bad control issues. It's like I have this person that I care so much about and I'm like, okay, go get it. I'm going to stand back here. You go do it outside. And I'm like freaking out. And then I've had people be like, you're so calm. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm actually having a fucking stroke. Just so you know.
So how much worse does that anxiety get at meets like, what was it, nationals, where you were running around just all over the place with athletes?
It's bad. And it's really bad. It's always openers, right? That's always the worst. And then I have some athletes that, like Mario Marquez is my biggest shithead. And I've coached him for, I don't know, like 5 years now. And I think he has like a 30% chance of making his opener, statistically speaking. Mike Gattone told me that in Peru, which was really nice to hear. So it's almost like I always just like expect him to not make it. And then the times that he does, I'm like, oh my God, like he made it. It's also really nerve-wracking when your athlete is like opening after people finished. There was a meet, I had an athlete open like 9 kilos heavier. It was in Albuquerque in 21, I think. The lane opened at 143 and the next guy had finished at 35. And Lane missed his opener at 143 and I was like, you look dumb. You look dumb. I look dumb. We look like we don't know what we're doing because every person out there is wondering why you didn't do 136. Like no one knows your max is 152, but you look dumb. So yeah, it's very bad at meets for sure. And it doesn't matter. Like definitely the A sessions are way worse because there's just like more on the line. But I'm always kids also make me so nervous because you never know what they're going to do ever.
They don't know what they're going to do either.
No, dude. So I have a 9-year-old. His name's Santiago, and he did a local meet. maybe like a month ago. And I was coaching a different athlete, so one of my coaches was coaching him. And I overheard a conversation, and they were like, Santiago, when you catch your snatches, catch with your whole foot. And he was like, no, listen. So
I like this guy.
yeah. Well, listen.
You need him on the podcast.
Yes. So he goes, when he's a 32 kilo lifter and he's just full of braces. He's probably 2 kilos of braces. And he was like, so listen, when I snatch on the platform, I catch on my toes all the time. So I've been practicing catching on my toes. It's on purpose. And how do you argue with that logic?
You don't.
No.
You let him fly.
Yes.
Santi. I think you could catch it more on your toes, actually.
Yes. And I'm just like, and then he goes 3 for 3 on his snatches, and so I can't even tell him to stop.
Santiago coaches himself now. Santiago is self-coached.
Yeah, he doesn't need me. He's like, no.
You're just a strategic advisor. Look at his performance.
He's like, Coach, listen, it's on purpose. I'm like, okay, all right, whatever. Keep doing
It's an athletic position.
Yes.
I like the thought process of like a kid who had like dinosaur nuggets for lunch shows up at the meet and is telling you like, hold on, coach.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a thing or two about how we snatch round here.
Yeah, don't worry about it. He's the same kid that went up to Anna, which is one of my youths, who's really good, and she's just kind of like a little hard ass. And he went up to her and was like, hey, just so you know, I do karate. And she goes, yeah, show me. And he goes, I don't want you to cry. And walk out. And she was like, what just happened?
Coaching kids.
This kid sounds incredible.
Honestly, I love coaching kids.
Until he's older, it's going to be amazing.
So catching snatches on your toes on purpose, impressive. No one's going to deny that. There are a lot of impressive feats in weightlifting. I think the crazy complexes that have taken to the internet have taken it too far. So like the Sonny Websters, that it's like a clean plus a behind the neck this and that. It's too much. It's too much. In your opinion, Brittany, what is the most impressive complex in all of weightlifting?
I mean, I would say one of my least favorite things to do, heavy. Like if we're working to a heavy, one of my least favorite things to do, but one of my favorite things to watch one of my really good athletes do and watch people like react to it is a 1+3 clean and jerk. Like when people just think, oh, they're just going to do a clean and jerk, right? And they're doing like, I don't know, 150, 160, and they do like a clean and jerk, and then they rack it, and everyone's like, what's going on? And then they jerk it again. Yeah. And then they rack it again, and everyone's like, what is really going on? And they hit another jerk. I hate doing it. This last AO1 cycle, I did give 1-2-1. So it was clean, jerk, and then you had to clean it again. It was I did that cycle just to like do it with him, and it was the first week I actually contemplated rewriting it for the next week so I didn't have to do it. And then I was like,
that's how you know it's a good program.
Yeah. I was like, so that I would say either a 1-3 or a 1-2-1 is pretty gross.
Evan, what's your most disgusting?
What is it? The Bergeron clean complex, the big clean complex, where it's like
That's too much.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't even know.
So
what it is.
it's one of these things that's been floating around in the CrossFit world that Ben Bergeron put out into the universe that should have never been created. It's like a hip clean, a high hang clean, a touch and go clean, a push press, same through with all 3 cleans, with a power jerk, same through with a split jerk. So it's like 9 cleans and 3 jerks, and it's just nonsense.
That's not a weightlifting complex.
You would do it like 30% and still be on all fours at the end of it.
Exactly.
Like that sounds terrible.
Obviously,
But no, in more of a weightlifting context, I think like that clean complex that Meso does when he's just like training or warming up, where he'll just do like a heavy clean into like 3 quick touch and go like high hang cleans into a jerk with like 210 kilos, and it's like in SpongeBob and Patrick weightlifting shoes.
Yeah.
That's one that's so impressive it almost doesn't make sense. Like I don't understand how he like creates the vertical force to get like the bar moving again to get back like to secure himself under it. Like
Or how does it look good? Like can I not see any fatigue on this?
No.
Like
I think the craziest part about it for me is if you take one of those videos and you just slow it down the bar moves maybe like 3 inches throughout that entire complex until that last stand up of the clean.
Yeah. So it's honestly that he's not even moving the bar vertically after like the first count.
He's just moving around.
Exactly.
We around it.
I think mine is probably similar to Brittany's. Is the Bella Complex that made its way into the Rogue Invitational that one year. It is a clean plus a jerk plus a re-rack, front squat, jerk it again.
Yeah, it's gross.
I think
that's what Gui hit for like something stupid, right?
I think he did 367 conversion.
Yeah, 180.
I think it.
Or no, like one.
I think it was like
160, 170.
I think it's like 166 he did.
That's the Brazilian guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
He just did 180 at Wadapalooza. He hit 180.
Animal.
It's wild.
He hits it in like nanos.
Don't matter.
Is he really good at CrossFit? I mean, obviously he's pretty good at CrossFit. Okay, that's kind of
so like. Yes, in that he's like very good compared to most people, but when you put him in the elites, it's like, okay, Guy is here to win the max lift, and then we're gonna push him to the side and be like, okay, buddy, you go do the other stuff now.
But so he's like a gold medal snatch and like a C session clean and jerk.
Yeah.
In like weightlifting world, it'd be like, all right, yeah, you both show up, and then
he's probably an 81.
He'd probably like a medal at any
in
American Pan American competition.
Yeah, so he's probably an 81. He might be a light 81, and he on any given day could probably snatch 145, clean and jerk 180 to 185.
So he's Brandon Victorian.
Yeah. He's Brazilian branded Victorian.
Yeah, he's Brazilian Brandon. Yeah, it makes.
But he runs sometimes.
Yeah, Brazil doesn't do that.
No, none of that stuff.
Not anymore. Those days are behind him.
Yeah.
All right. That brings me to the end of my housekeeping. That's all I got, guys. That's all I had. It's unfortunate, but it's come to our conclusion. Do we have announcements for the people?
That's all right. Announcements. We do have a couple. We've got, first and foremost, Max Out Blackout coming up.
Jay, put the shirt on the screen. We will have the shirt
and the logo
by the time this comes out. Shirt, logo. Now,
and then just for shits and giggles, put that Klokov clip that we had on last episode up just right now with Ryan making his wonderful noise. Ryan, do you want to make it again?
No thanks this week.
Okay.
But I will accept also a Tomas Pigeon flying across the screen for us. I'll accept that as well.
Perfect. But Max Out Blackout, April 8th, Bexar Barbell in San Antonio. Registration is open. Early registration ends February 14th. So if you want to get your Valentine's something for Valentine's Day because you slacked on that, sign them up for a fun competition.
Yeah, even if they don't know how to do weightlifting, it's fine. You get 10 attempts.
It's actually It's actually better if you don't know how to weightlift. It's probably a more
You'll learn.
enjoyable experience.
Throw them in the deep end, sink or swim.
Just remember,
don't have to worry about a press out.
It's bench pressing. It's bench pressing curls. That's weightlifting. You get 10 attempts at each. Show up in your best pair of Converse, and then maybe like some denim overalls to set the look off, and just be ready.
Not Nike Blazers?
I'm more of a Nike Monarchs guy. You know,
a
little bit of weightlifting. Hit the barbecue after. I'm working the grill. No one's gonna question me if I got those suckers on.
That's fair. That is fair. That is true.
Make sure you follow Get the Barbell Club and Bexar Barbell on all socials. If you need some weightlifting assistance on the coaching side of thing, all the people on this podcast are weightlifting coaches. They're all very good at it. I'm probably the worst, so I'm flanked by A1 and A2 here on this pod. And of course, today's sponsor is your mom. She's a big fan of the show, so thanks to the viewers' mom. Really appreciate that. It's actually Stacy's mom. She is the sponsor for today's. Brittany, anything you want to leave the people with? Words of wisdom? You dropped a lot. They should.
Thank you. I always feel weird getting all emotional about these things because everybody thinks I'm so tough because of my tattoos, but no, I'm good.
You're pretty tough. I think you're tough.
It's literally just the tattoos. That's it.
The toughest.
We'll wrap it up with the tattoo conversation then. What's favorite tattoo that you have?
Oh, God. Well, I don't know. So, I've started, so I have 2 sleeves. One of them is like a 9/11 memorial, which is why I became a paramedic. And then I have like a Buddhist kind of Hindu sleeve, but my left leg is currently being slowly, well, it's not slowly, it's already like halfway done. I have like a travel leg. So for all the countries I've been going to, my tattoo artist, Molly, who's like amazing out of Austin, has been doing something for each country. So in the last 18 months, I think I was in like 9 countries. So I do have this super badass jacked minotaur that's like supposed to be for Greece. But my favorite tattoo is actually when Layla and I were in Peru. We went and got tattoos in a Peruvian tattoo shop where they didn't speak any English. And they separated us at one point, and I thought I might get kidnapped. So the story. So, and the crazy thing is, like, so we go to this tattoo shop. We made an appointment, and we just got these little. It's both on our leg, and it's like a little mountain range and an alpaca. Super cute, definitely white girl shit, right? So we go to this tattoo shop, and they're like, all right, well, Layla's gonna get tattooed here, but you're gonna come with me. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Not thinking, Layla doesn't even have cell phone service, and she doesn't know where the fuck I'm going. I just follow this dude. Go upstairs, go into this other studio. The guy's tattooing me, and I'm literally sitting there thinking, like, okay, what has to happen for me to, like, kick him in the face? And, like, run out the door and go find Layla. Like, what if someone kidnaps her? How am I gonna explain that to Team USA? Like, hey, remember I said we were gonna go get coffee real quick? I lost her. So my favorite tattoo is probably, I have like a little alpaca that I got in Peru with Layla. So that was cool.
I was hoping that story would end with, and then 72 hours later, I woke up and I was the back third of a human centipede.
No.
So imagine
Specifically the back third.
Yeah, the back.
my disappointment.
Well, okay, question. Would you rather be the back third or the front or the middle?
Front, for sure, you got to be the front. You're not eating, if you're the front, you're not eating any dookie.
What about the middle?
The middle's got it rough, but you're at least dookie in someone's mouth. So yeah, you're eating it, but also the back half, you're just eating dookie and then dooking it out. Like that's,
Well,
you don't get
if
it.
it was the middle, you could hide it. You could just like wear a long shirt or something. You just be like, why can't you squat?
Nobody has to know it's you.
No.
So you're more worried about like the social anxiety of people knowing that you're
Yes.
part of a cute. Okay, I get it. Yeah, that does make sense. I would be
You
worried.
think
about
like
that.
normal-ish, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Yeah, that.
Evan, what about you? Which end?
Oh, that's. I don't even know. These are all such good arguments. The front is the easy cop out. The back is just miserable. The middle is.
Easy cop.
The middle, I think, you go numb in every aspect so quickly in the middle. You have someone just munching your booty. You're eating somebody's booty. So you're just like, I don't. Is it a net neutral? I don't know.
Do those two cancel out? That's like, is it? Well, it depends. How are you? Like 2 positives, 2 negatives. It depends where you
It
fall.
depends on where you fall.
On each booty.
Individual choice there.
I feel like that's like a sumo deadlifter's dream, right?
Just a fucking, just like go to a hole and you're just like, boom.
I think.
Gosh.
One of
I
my
don't-
favorite things to do is go up to athletes, like, and they're in the middle of team training. Like, I think I sat down like a week ago with 3 of my athletes. I'm like, hey, question. And they're like, what's up? I'm like, all right, would you rather wear the same pair of underwear for a whole week or the same pair of socks for a whole month? And they're like, are you fucking serious? I'm like, yeah, what's your answer? Like,
Socks.
yeah, socks for sure.
Do you take them off, or do you
No.
just like straight through?
No.
Can't ever take it off.
Nope, can't turn it inside out, nothing.
No. So showering in the garment.
Yep.
Me, I'm gonna go skinnies. I'm
Yep.
rocking the same undies.
I guess if you
Really?
want, you wash them correctly. But then you gotta like air dry, walk around. I mean,
Yeah.
wet socks are good.
Yeah, wet socks is rough. Putting your wet socks in. Yeah, I live in Florida where we don't ever wear socks or shoes. I can't have foot prisons on for an entire month.
I guess that's valid. Florida people are a little
Built different, dog.
different. Yeah, built missing some issues in chromosomes.
Some people, yeah. I think I posted it on your post. I said there's built different, and then there's us built incorrectly. That's us
Right. Yeah.
down here. That's where we'll leave you guys today. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. As always, send this to your friends. Don't give them any contacts. Just send it to them. Are they a weightlifter? We don't care. Just send it to them. They'll enjoy it regardless. Little Would You Rather and Human Centipede at the end. That's a can't miss episode right there. We'll see you on the next one. But, as always, take a clip from this, post it on your story, tag your coach, say these guys gave me permission to max out. We'll handle the rest. So you're welcome. We'll see you next time around.